guys, welcome back to 10 Tenths. Today you join us again with Dom from Grip Auto. And today we got something very special for you today. It's a very special car. Dom, what are we looking at?
Yeah, this is an Alfa Romeo SZ, or as its code name is, an ES30. Beautiful car, not many around, and a special one it's a special place in my heart with this one. Yeah. So yeah.
Alpha Red is the color?
Yeah, a typical color you'd expect to find in this car, and it's basically the only color you could have.
If it was built by Henry Ford, what would he say?
You could have any color as you like, as long as it's red. So you wouldn't want it in any other color, I guess, looking at the lines.
When did this come out? 89?
Yeah, 89. Obviously, late 80s, they would have been designing a little bit before that. It is the first CAD designed vehicle by Zagato, computer-aided design.
Using some special materials as well.
Yeah. Thermoplastic, so the whole bodywork it won't rust like a typical Alfa, I guess, back in the day. It is based on the Alfa 75 Group A race car, so underneath it is purely a racing car.
And when you hear this thing, you'll definitely know it's got race car roots. And even we'll do a walk around and you'll see some of that race car inspired technology from back in the day. So, as promised, a walk around of the Alfa SZ.
So here it is, so Alfa Romeo SZ, the Sprint Zagato. I guess you could say it's the looks only a mother could love, in a way. I love it personally. A lot of people at the time used to hate these when they were unveiled. That's why I got the nickname Il Mostro, which is the monster. It's just so brutal in its look. Just the way it's just so squared off, so stout, but you've got this beautiful curvature on the roofline there. Well, that's another feature to do with the computer-aided design, because initially this was actually going to be a bit lower in the initial design concept, but they did some again, at the time, with the technology, even may have been a bit early on in the stages, but they were able to figure out that the roofline needed to come up a little bit higher to meet that drag coefficient. So it is quite interesting, and actually when you look at it up close, there is quite a bit of it's almost a wraparound screen when you see it. So it's funny, I say to it, it's a bit like a George Jetson's roof that's been put on a Fred Flintstone body. That's how I sort of look at it. But when they actually even did the racing series that they had on these.
So yes, a race car for the road, but also converted into a race car spec.
One make series.
For the Trofeo series, yeah.
Yep.
And those cars were apparently put back to road car spec after the end?
Converted, I guess because there were so few of them, converted back to road spec, which they didn't really do much to them, but they did, and then sold them, or the owners that had them kept them, I suppose. So looking at this, I mean, thermoplastics, it's you can see the beautiful clamshell type bonnet that we've got over the top here. A bit of an unusual styling feature, but it's typical of later model Alfa Romeos when you see them, how the bonnet sort of opens, and you'll see later on when we open it up, but you've got these gaping gaps that you can see here.
And this is because the car's actually been raised.
Yeah, well, there you go. So this has actually got height adjustable suspension that does raise and lower, which is by Kony.
Well.
Correct, yeah, so you can do that in cabin. Now these, you may remember, remind me, these are Speedline.
Yes. Speedline
wheels, there we go, yep. And difficult size to find with a 16-inch in that profile, but yeah, it suits the car perfectly. A typical telephone dial. We can move around to the front. We'll see that there's unique and something that instantly, when you see them, you know what it is. But it's these Corello headlights, 3 individual headlights on each side, and you could almost say that Alfa Romeo kept this with the later models with the Brera. And you do not want to damage one of these.
The owner was saying that they're rarer than hen's teeth to find, apparently. So yeah, very cool design feature, and probably where we saw this kind of design in future Alphas. So.
And it is, as you can see from that, you can see why it does look like a monster. It's so aggressive.
Yeah, at the front, it's very imposing.
One thing wanting to point out is with the roofline, again, it's one of the features that makes this thing what it is, but it's actually, you could almost copy and paste this roof and put it onto another concept that Zagato, which have in their museum, which is the Lancia Hyena. And that's based off a Delta Integrale platform. Similar to this, is based on a 75. And they've rebodied that.
You could almost say the Hyena is like a normalized version of the SZ.
Exactly, yeah, and that in
much more conventional styling.
Yeah, and that in itself is still a pretty cool looking car. As you see here, there's practically no boot. They were squared off. You have a slimline of course, it has to be a speedline lightweight racing space saver, but it is a space saver that sits literally in that space, just there, and you've got a fuel tank that sits about here.
And while we're around the back here, what about what's lurking underneath? A very special setup under here.
It's another thing, getting onto the mechanicals of it, you've got a Dion rear suspension setup. It is a 5-speed transaxle, so basically you've got the gearbox and everything running to the rear. You've got inboard brakes. It's essentially, race car technology. And Alfa Romeo did use a lot of this technology in this era, like the GTV6s. They used a lot of this sort of style setup. And no wonder it handles well, and it pulls over 1G in the corners.
That was on its advertising, actually.
Yeah,
the 1G.
That's it. Yeah, exactly right. And they had that quirky promotional video that they did showing the 1G in the corners.
The SZ exceeds 1.2G.
And that's the thing. You get a combination. Here's the ingredients: Alfa Romeo, Giuseppe Busso, and Zagato. You put those 3 ingredients together, what are you expecting to see? Well, actually, you would expect to see a beautiful, curvaceous Italian, exotic car. It is exotic, but it's not the it's not the end result you'd find. So, and I love it for it. It's no one no one really, I could say, has done anything like it since.
It's probably one of the earlier interpretations of a concept car that made it to production.
Exactly right, exactly, and it's just amazing, and
And now we're looking at the heart of the beast, the heart of the monster.
Here we have the V6 engine from Giuseppe Busso, who is the architect of this beautiful engine, which is actually one of the greatest engines ever made to a lot lot of people.
The best sounding V6 ever.
Exactly right, the best sounding V6 ever. It is a artwork, I guess you could say, and it is rear wheel driven. It produces in this car 210 horsepower. The figures are 0 to 100 in 7 seconds, which I guess back in 1989 would have been quite impressive. Yeah, so you can see, basically, you can see here how they were, there's no covers to really, like in today's vehicles where
you can get into everything.
You can touch everything, yeah, you can get your hands in there. They've, the beautifully painted script that they did at the time, everything typical of the Alfa Romeo.
But even looking at some of the details around the engine bay,
yeah.
See these welds, are they?
Well, they're not welds because this is plastic. So basically, this is all handmade. It's all hand formed. So and as the owner was telling us, they're all very rough and ready because of how they would at the time. I guess this was very new to them. So that's basically all hand formed and pressed and molded and yeah. Even though it's not hand beaten like the typical Zagato coach build cars were back in the day, these were I guess you could say a bit better in terms of the CAD design, helping them with getting the measurements more 100% accurate rather than this side's, an inch or two different to that side.
So given what the material is made out of, could you have rust issues with this car?
Look, obviously there'd still be some form of metal somewhere in the vehicle. Again, this was at the time when Alfa were struggling internationally with their issues for rust and basically they needed to reinvigorate the image.
And reinvent themselves.
Yeah, but you could almost say that this was them panicking to come up with a solution. So this was this technology that they did, and maybe they were hoping they could do all the future Alfa Romeos in this sort of material, but not to be. But obviously since then we've got a lot of vehicles made of, carbon fibre. So don't forget, back then carbon fibre and all these mouldings would take so long. It'd be, it's just the procedure and the process. Whereas nowadays it's like a tenth of the time. You could almost say to do it all, and it's so much easier.
And we're in.
Wow, first impressions. First time sitting in this car, I'm speechless. It's beautiful. I love it. It's just pure, purposeful. Carbon fibre on the dash there, all your instruments, everything you need. Being an Alfa, it's probably got the oil pressure staring right at me somewhere here. But of course, the most important thing, it's got a clock right in front of you in the middle. How typical Italian is that? So
you don't need to know how fast you're going.
No, as long as you just need to know you're getting there on time. You don't want to upset whoever's at the other end waiting for you. I love this. Look at this, just like Zagato design on the steering wheel there, Momo wheel. All your gauges. What do we have? We've got fuel, water temperature, we've got oil, we've got the battery volts, and this particular example's done 51,292 kilometers. So how good is that? And the owner does use it. He's enjoying it, which is great to see. Your traditional 5-speed H pattern gearbox here. It's amazing, this glass house that it has. Like this section of the roof, it's very small section, really. It's only a small amount, and of course
it is glass.
It's beautifully trimmed. You'd expect no less. Yeah. The back, there's no back seats, as you can see, but again, for your luggage, there's plenty of room. Here's something interesting. It looks like your ride control or your adjustable suspension buttons here.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You've got a little dial, a little warning light for that suspension as well on there.
Yeah, there you go, all those buttons. So we got the suspension button. Very rare to see that of a car at this age.
Yeah.
Something you'd see, I guess, in your high-end Porsches and stuff. Just so we got two buttons, I guess. One's to raise it and maybe one's to lower it.
Yeah, so we've got the arrows are actually pointing. They're both pointing the same way. So again, whether that's something that the Italians are just, that'll do.
We'll just paint it. We just paint it red.
One's green and one's red, and we put the white in the middle. We got the Italian flag. We're happy.
And we'll number it too, just in case. So number was 793.
793, there you go. So it's one of the later ones. This particular example is a 1991 model. 1G handle that you've got there.
That your passenger would hold on to.
You can almost, the driver would too if you had to.
Bit of vinyl, leather, vinyl.
Yep.
So you got some vinyl, you got some paint, you got some cream leather, and get somewhere to rest your knees when you're pulling 1G through the corners. After taking you for a tour inside, one last, I guess, quirky bit about this car. Dom, you should do the honors.
Yeah, so we have a little latch here, a little lever. Now,
Unlabeled as well.
Yeah, it is unlabeled, but of course look at the beautiful style to it, those lines and the shape. What would this do? I don't know, is it a fuel cap? You'd pop it and you'd think it'd be something like that, but no, it's the boot. And it opens, of course, this way. Why else would it open the conventional way?
One of the prettiest spare wheels that I've ever seen.
A Speedline space saver. And Sean will tell us a bit about what that is.
There you go.
It's not your washer fluid.
No, that is the control unit for the adjustable suspension. This lives next to the spare wheel and lives next to the fuel tank as well.
So,
what have we got here?
yeah, this is state-of-the-art Italian design cable to hold the boot.
A bit of shoelace tie.
From falling back and cracking the plastic, I guess you could
I guess
say.
that'd be a cheap part to replace. Just use the one from your shoe.
No, I think if you got the genuine part from Alfa Romeo, if they still have it, I wouldn't be surprised they charge an arm and a leg.
Hang on, before you close it, there's also a little plate here, a little plaque.
Yes, just in case you weren't sure, it has 2 coats of paint.
Rosso Alfa. So yeah, there you go. And that is Il Mostro, inside and out. So I'm pretty sure you're all pretty curious about how it sounds and drives. So Dom, are you ready for this?
Let's jump inside the monster. So basically we're now going for a drive with the owner of the vehicle, JJ. Welcome to the video.
G'day, g'day.
And what we're doing is we're just going to go to our next destination, but basically want to ask a few questions. Just the first one, why did you want one?
So when I was, I've been a car enthusiast since I can remember. I remember when I was young, I used to play with Matchbox cars. Only child, so the cars were my little outlet.
Yep, I know all about that.
Yeah, that's right.
Only child, yep.
Yeah. And so I was, growing up, had posters in the bedroom of cars and had the usual Lamborghinis and what have you. But when this came out, it was just a design that sort of stuck with me. And I remember when I first saw one in the flesh, I just thought, what a unique car. It's just, you just don't see anything like it. So it's a bit polarizing design. You either love it or you kind of go, not sure.
Yep.
And I was in the camp of, I just love the design and the proportions and the fact that Alfa was brave enough to build it.
Exactly. So where did you come across this one?
So I saw this at the Alfa Spectacular, which is the Alfa Owners Day sort of concourse display. Once a year they have that event, and I saw it there. It was for sale. Spoke to the owner, and then we kept the conversation going, and then I eventually bought it.
Yeah. So what's it like driving and owning it?
So yeah, so it's a great car to drive because it just handles really well.
Feels really nice, from this side.
Yeah, and it's quite modern. So it's not like driving a 60s Alfa or a early 70s Alfa. Like everything feels modern. power delivery is very good. Sounds great.
Oh, yeah.
So some things are very easy to fix, like the engine and the drivetrain are from basically an Alfa 75 platform.
Yeah.
But like the panels, the glass and the lights are all custom, built, manufactured by Zagato. So there's no parts warehouse for them, so you have to actually try to source it from other collectors. The body panels are all, as you sort of said in your video, they're thermoplastic, right? So you can replace it with fiberglass, which a lot of owners have done.
Okay, yeah.
There is a guy in Japan did make a Kevlar bonnet in particular, because the bonnet's very heavy. But that would be quite expensive.
And when you pull up somewhere in this, and obviously people don't know what it is, what's the sort of impression that you get? Do they come up to you and ask you, or they sort of think it's just another car?
No. So people look at it because they're not quite sure what it is.
Yeah.
So it's red, so they think, oh, it could be a Ferrari.
Yeah.
It doesn't really look like a Ferrari. And then I've had the police pull me over once just to check my club plates.
Yep.
And they said, oh, we just really wanted to know what the car was.
Yep.
So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And so most people don't know it's an Alfa or think that it's an old car. They think it's a relatively new car. And the fact that the club plates indicate that it's over 25 years old.
True. Yep.
That surprises people.
And favourite part of the car?
For me, is the sound. It's the seats. I like the interior. The interior is very good.
Yes. Yeah.
It's better than a lot of Alfa's mainstream stuff, to be honest.
Yeah.
And the engine note. The engine is just a beautiful thing.
What do you think? Brilliant car. It is not a monster to me. I think this is a fantastic car. I still love it even more now. The design is great. I think it's beautiful. People think it's ugly. To me, I love it. Even more so after going for a run in it. It's comfortable. It's livable. It's a beautiful sports car actually. So I don't think it's anything too crazy, and it really holds its own even amongst today's sports cars. So I love it %, and it still looks crazy now, but all the better for it. I mean, no one's brave enough to do something like this today. It's still got that concept car look, but I think it's beautiful.
Would you call it a race car for the road?
Sports car, yes. Look, with a bit of fine tuning, it probably would be a race car for the road, but it's definitely a great car to take for a drive.
A track day even?
You could do a track day in it, 100%, yeah. What are your thoughts?
I guess filming it today, the sound is the first thing that gets you.
Yeah.
Before you see the car, you hear that Busso engine screaming from the distance. Definitely. And it's like, this is fantastic. And thanks very much to JJ, the owner of this car, for letting us film it today. So thanks for that. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you like and subscribe so that you don't miss any future reviews like this one. Make sure to hit the notification bell as well so you know when the next video comes out. Other than that, thanks for watching everyone, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.